Hi everybody, welcome back to the latest edition of the Fargo Force Show. Joining us this week is Force center Shane Mcmahan from Lakewood, Colorado. This is Shane's third season with the Force. You played the last 2 years, including an assistant captain last year, but kind of an interesting story for Shane this year. Out of training camp this season, they released you. You played with Aston of Pennsylvania in the NAHL, but then you were reacquired by the Force in late October. Talk about that whole process, how disappointing it was to be released in September at the start of the season, and then kind of coming back to a team you knew well, but maybe with a little chip on your shoulder or a little extra motivation, I guess you might say.
Yeah, it was hard at first. It was a tough pill to swallow, being released after 2 years. So, but going down there definitely motivated me. It definitely made me come back a better player, I think.
Let's take a look at some of your numbers, and we'll kind of show you what Shane's talking about here. 2014-15, you played 44 games, some low numbers there in your first year. Last year as an assistant captain, 5 goals, 9 assists, 14 points, a solid plus-minus. But here's what we're looking at right here. And this year, since you've been back with the Force in 2016-2017, 46 games, look at the jump in numbers. 15 goals, 12 assists, 27 points. Your plus-minus is 4 right now. Fantastic. Can you explain that jump in production, Shane? Has it been a physical thing where you're just better? Has it been a motivation thing, like you said, where you came back with a little extra motivation, or maybe kind of a combo of both?
I think it's a combo of that, and being a third-year guy, it's definitely a confidence thing.
Mm-hmm. Number 1 on the team in game-winning goals. 5 game-winning goals on that. Second on the team in shooting percentage with 16.9, and 5th in points per game. Talk about game-winning goals. Is that just, hey, right spot at the right time? Do you have kind of a knack for that? Tell me about that. Is there an explanation for that?
I definitely think it's, right spot, right time.
How about shooting percentage? Have you always been a guy that maybe, I'm not going to shoot every time I get it. I'm going to make sure my shots are quality chances. Tell me about being a high shooting percentage. Is that something you've always had, or just happened this year?
Kind of just happened this year. I'm usually kind of a guy that likes to shoot it whenever I can.
And just happened to be this year that you have maybe more success?
Yeah, definitely.
Is that a factor, a product of some off-season hard work too, maybe you put in with shooting or different things like that?
Yeah, definitely the physical aspect is increased this year.
Tell me about why you think Coach brought you back. They made a trade for you in October, brought you back. What do you think he saw, or what do you think that was a reason that, hey, I want this guy back on our team?
I think my defensive capabilities definitely were something that were kind of missed. And then, just the scoring aspect that I kind of found in Aston was definitely a big plus.
Has that surprised you at how good you've scored this year? Did you always know it? You had it in you? You made such a jump this year. Have you even maybe surprised yourself at how much success you've had putting points on the board this year?
Yeah, definitely surprised myself, but I kind of knew all along that I had it in there somewhere.
The Force right now they stand at 32-18, 4-1, 69 points. Last year at this, or not this time, but total, the Force finished with 32 wins. So you have the same amount of wins right now this year. You still have 5 games left to play. Just tell me about being back in the playoff race. Last year, we all know how it ended for the Force. Came down to the last game of the season, basically. You tied for 4th place, but Sioux City had the tiebreaker on you, so they made the playoffs. You basically finished 1 game out of it. This year, you guys are sitting in a good spot. We'll get to that in a second. But how much fun has this year been so far, going down these last couple weeks? You're in 3rd place right now.
It's been a lot of fun. Last month has probably felt like playoffs to us, so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of good hockey. All
right, well, since our last show, the Force have played 5 games. They've only gone 2-3. However, as I mentioned, they've actually moved up in the standings. So let's get you caught up a little bit on the action in the last 2 weeks. It started Friday, March 17th, at home versus the Des Moines Buccaneers. You were 1 point behind them coming into the standings. First period, Des Moines shot redirected in by Isaac Johnson, 1-0 after 1. It was 2-0 after 2. Then in the third, it's Johnson again using a screen by his teammate and firing in. 3-0 Bucks early in the period 3. But 2 minutes later, the Force get a power play and take advantage. Hank Crone to Blake Lazat to Clayton Phillips, his 6th, 3-1. Force weren't done. 2 minutes later, again on the power play, Phillips returns the favor to Crone for the blast, his 22nd of the year. Force down 3-2 with half a period left, but that's the way it ended up. Des Moines takes it 3-2. Des Moines, it was 3-2 despite just 17 shots on goal. Both teams' power plays were efficient in this one. So a chance for redemption versus Des Moines the following night. The Force wearing their throwback orange FM Jets jerseys. Scoreless in the second. Fargo's Evan Doherty shoots, and the rebound comes right to Kevin O'Neill, the newly acquired Kevin O'Neill. and he, with an open net, scores his first goal as a member of the Force, 1-0 after 2. That was all the scoring the Force would need. The defense was hard-hitting and on point, and goalie Matt Murray was fantastic as well, stopping all 28 shots that came his way for his USHL best 5th shutout of the season. Force win it 2-0 along with O'Neill's goal. Blake Lizotte added an empty netter for the final margin. The Force get the weekend sweep with the Bucks and stay 1 point behind them for 3rd place in the conference standings. Then a few days later, the Force traveled to Sioux City for a rare Tuesday tilt. Sioux City led 1-0 starting the 3rd, but then erupted for 3 third-period goals to win it 4-0. Just the 3rd time the Force had been shut out this season. Also, it was one of the few times this season the Force were outshot. Then the following weekend, the Force on the road at Muskegon in Michigan. And on Friday, the Force fall 4-3. They trailed 4-0 in the 3rd. They came back with 3 third-period goals, but not quite enough. Blake Lizotte, Jack Adams, and our guest Shane Mcmahan scored his 15th goal of the season, but not quite enough. Force had 45 shots on goal in that one, but the next night they bounced back for the big 5-2 victory. The Force led 4-0, so they jumped out, basically the opposite of the last game, jumped out to a 4-0 lead. Goals by Kevin O'Neill, Jacob Paganelli, Jack Adams with his 32nd, and Hank Crone with his 23rd. There, Matt Murray with 33 saves, and the Force power play extremely efficient there. It was 3-4-5 on the night. So, as we look at the Western Conference standings now in the USHL, with just 4 or 5 games left for most teams, the Force have played 55 games, and as we talked about, last time we had the show, they were in 4th place. Right now, you jumped up to 3rd place, 69 points, 1 game ahead of 4th place Des Moines. But still, you look at Lincoln back there, Shane, with 65 points. They're still in it. They could get 4th or even 3rd. How much confidence do you guys take into these last couple weeks, these last 5 games that you'll have?
A huge amount. You know, it's something we talk about in our meetings, being confident, and I think it's really starting to show.
Is it, can you learn, can you grow? Are you guys extra determined based on what happened last year to, make sure that it doesn't happen and to keep it going and to not leave it in maybe the last game of the season's hands, I guess?
Yeah, no, the core group we had from last year, they definitely came in this year and had that good mentality, and I think we'll definitely not make the same mistake this year.
All right, let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Fargo Force and see how it's going to shake down in these final couple weeks of the regular season. This coming weekend, the Force with a couple of home games against Team USA U18. The first time you guys will play them this year. They are 2nd to last in the Eastern Conference, so a great opportunity to get a couple of some big points there on the weekend. Then your final regular season home game of the season, another Tuesday game, this Tuesday, April 4th, versus Sioux City. They're 1st place, obviously. You guys haven't fared as well against them this year. The Force just 2-5 versus Sioux City this season, and they're red hot as well. They've won 5 straight and 9 of their last 10. And then you finish the season against the 2nd place team in your conference, Waterloo, 2-1-1 versus Waterloo this season. Do you feel like when you see, okay, you have Sioux City and Waterloo these last 3 games of the season, but you have Team USA who obviously struggled this year. Do you put pressure on yourselves, or do you just feel like, hey guys, we know we have to come out with a couple of wins this weekend to put ourselves in a good position? Because if you do that, you can almost lock up a playoff spot, right?
Yeah, no, we're definitely putting some pressure on here that this weekend's a big one, and even the last weekend of the year there will be a pretty big one for us.
Team USA, when you play them, they're a little bit different than maybe some other teams in the league, aren't they? Are they describe them, because maybe not a lot of people know about the U18 team in the league.
Well, they're definitely a lot more physical than a lot of the other teams. They have a lot of young guys that are really skilled and can do a lot if you give them a lot of time.
So the key is to what? Jump on them early and something like that, especially against a team that's struggling. Is that kind of always the key? Hey, well, let's come out fast.
Yeah, definitely jump on them early. Kind of keep them down.
All right, what's going to be the biggest key here for this last 5 games, trying to get in the playoffs? The Force have not made the playoffs for the last 3 years. What's going to be the biggest key or the biggest focus for you guys?
Probably just staying confident, believing that we can do it, and I know we will.
All right, the Force, as I said, last time they've been in the playoffs was 3 years ago. The Force trying to end that. We got 2 more weeks of the regular season. Should be a fun one. It'll come down to the end. Hopefully the Force will get maybe taken care of a little bit before the last game of the regular season, but it's been a fantastic regular season nonetheless. And once again, for any kind of tickets you want to go to for these last 3 home games, go to FargoForce.com. Shane Mcmahan, our guest this week. Thanks for joining us, Shane. Best of luck in these last 2 weeks.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of the Fargo Force Show.